Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be local nursery plant shopping at Plants and Planters by Secret Gardens out in Richardson, Texas. This is one of the oldest nurseries out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it is one of my favorite nurseries. I featured this video a couple of times already in my previous videos, but today I wanted to go visit what was going on at Plants and Planters. Shelly is a really good friend of mine who happens to be one of the buyers and somebody who has been running this plant nursery for many decades, and that's the reason why I wanted to showcase this classic local plant nursery in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Highly recommend it because not only do they have some amazing indoor house plants, they've also got an extensive outdoor section as well. They also have water plants that they sell and also do pond and water fixture installations. But as you can see here, I'm actually going to take a little bit of time just to show you some of the outdoor section of Plants and Planters. And you can see here so many gorgeous coleus, and if you have been following my channel, you already know I've had this big coleus obsession for the last couple of weeks, and you already know that I'm going to be purchasing some coleus today from Plants and Planters. Now, if you like this kind of content, please make sure you are subscribing to my channel. I do 1-hour plant shopping videos. I typically premiere my videos around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, sometimes 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, but I do advise you to have the notification bell on in case that the live premiere starts at a different time. I would really love to see you guys in the live premiere chat. So if you can, please make sure you do say hello if you are watching this actual video during a live premiere. We've had a lot of people joining as of late, and it really brings me a lot of joy to be able to give you guys this type of content. But as you can see here, they do install ponds. And right now, though, I am going to be going to the indoor section. Welcome to paradise. And I tell you what, my plant foldies, and for those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. You are going to be in for a treat if this is your very first time seeing Plants and Planters. As you can see here, they've got a beautiful water fixture, this little fountain here. Really love the sound of water, but as you can see, it is around noontime when I am coming to shop over here, and I'm actually glad that I have this nursery all to myself so I can freely show you all the gorgeous plants that they have available here. And you can see here they've got hanging baskets, different types of easy to care for plants. The diversity of plants that they have in this indoor greenhouse is absolutely amazing. And in the main section, they have a bunch of pottery and also planters. So definitely check that out. But as you can see here, I'm just going to spin around, and this is just the very beginning part of the nursery tour. I do want to show you some of these plants here. So this is an Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen pothos, high color. This is for $24.99, and this is a lush full hanging basket of Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen pothos. Really love the look of this pothos, and I will say, if you ever shop local plant nurseries such as Plants and Planters, you are pretty much guaranteed a very full, healthy plant. The pest preventatives that they do for this actual nursery is amazing, and so I'm always confident that I will have a healthy plant going home with me when I go to a plant nursery like this. And as you can see here, another favorite one of mine, this is an Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos for $29.99. And what I was going to tell you is these Epipremnum aureum Enjoy pothos are a little bit more uncommon these days to find at big box stores. And check this out. For $99, this is a, I believe, 8-inch hanging basket of Epipremnum Pinnatum albo. I think this is absolutely amazing. Really love this a lot, and the fact that, you know, the variegation is gorgeous. This is a nice full plant, and while it is $99, you can get several cuttings out of this and get so many Epipremnum Pinnatum albos. I would say that this is one of the few nurseries in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that offers such a large hanging basket of Epipremnum Pinnatum albo, so definitely check that out. And then obviously they have another hanging basket of Enjoy pothos, one of my favorite pothos again. And like I said, if you ever grow an Enjoy pothos up a totem pole, the leaves get very large. It's almost like a cheap alternative to a Monstera albo. And I'm just going to pan over here. So these are the 6-inch planters for Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This is a classic pothos. This is a pothos that pretty much every plant grower or somebody who grows plants indoors has actually had in their care. I mean, this is one of the first plants that I've ever had growing indoor plants, as well as this Epipremnum aureum marble queen pothos. Again, gorgeous looking plant here. And I would say the pricing is fair at Plants and Planters. I would say if there is a little bit of a price difference between a big box store and Plants and Planters, the difference is at Plants and Planters between a big box store, you are a guaranteed or pretty much a highly likelihood of a very healthy plant that's super full. As you can see, this is perfect one right here. This one is for $16.99. That's really the medium range of what a 6-inch planter of pothos would cost. And as you can see here, I'm just going to pan over and show you more of these pothos plants. I tend to like easy to care for plants. And if you are first discovering my channel today, please make sure you are subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell, and also taking some of my tips like this Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Look at how electrifying and neon and yellow this pothos is. I am just so excited to actually look at it. This is very visually stimulating to the eyes. Look at how gorgeous that yellow foliage is. And that one I believe is also for $16.99. The plants are in perfect condition, and that's the thing I really love about Plants and Planters is not only do they have easy to care for plants, when you talk to the staff, and if you ever get a chance, please tell Shelly I said hi. This one's actually for $19.99. That is still not a bad price at all for a neon pothos, especially one that doesn't have any leaf damage. It's absolutely perfect. You know, sometimes when you go to a big box store, you might find a beautiful hanging basket of neon pothos, but sometimes there's some like browning on the leaves and some other like damages on it. But as you can see, there is not a single damage on any of the leaves of these plants. And as you can see here, we've got a beautiful looking Scindapsus satin, silver satin. I believe that's silver satin. No, actually, no, it's the Scindapsus truebreii moonlight. I apologize about that. Sometimes I don't have all of my plant IDs correct, but that is a nice looking one as well. And then we talk about another underrated plant. This one is for $119.99. This one is a Dracaena, some type of Dracaena, but look at how it has grown into a tree form. Typically, we'll see these in 3.5-inch starter planters at a big box, but as you can see, this one is about 4 feet tall. And that's what I told, most of our plant foldies, that once a plant matures like this, it is really a beautiful specimen plant. And over here, we've got another hanging basket of a Scindapsus. I believe this is for $39.99. This is a Scindapsus silver, and really love that silvery foliage of the Scindapsus. Now, Scindapsus as compared to a pothos plant, the growth pattern and the growth habit is a little bit less vigorous in a pothos plant. And here is another classic Calathea. This is a Calathea lancifolia, or also known as the Calathea rattlesnake. Really nice looking foliage as well. You already know how I feel about Calatheas. They're a little bit of a finicky plant, so I have just been growing them in hydroponics. And then this one is a Philodendron hederaceum Brazil for $29.99 in another hanging basket. So Plants and Planters, we haven't even hit the rest of the nursery, but as you can see, they've got some amazing plants. And I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to really try to take my time to show you guys all of the plants that they have available. They also have different types of fountains and water fixtures, and this one is really cool. I really like the sound of water, and also just seeing the water drip down like that. I would like to have some type of fountain or water fixture in my backyard at some point someday, so we will check it out. Now, as you can see here, they have an assortment of plants. This one's got a Hydra helix next to a Syngonium plant, as well as a Spathiphyllum. Now, I'm not really into mixed planters like this. These are really meant to be given as gifts, but as you can see, they do have these plants here. That's not for the $89.99. That's actually for that metallic plant stand. I believe these are for $32. And then right over here, we've got a Dracaena, and then this Dracaena is for $29.99. This is a Jade Jewel Dracaena. Love Dracaenas because they are very much low light tolerant plants. They don't need a lot of water, which makes them an easy to care for plant, because people like me, I really don't water my plants as much as I should be. And as a result, I've actually killed plants, made plants unhealthy. It's just a really bad habit that I have of mine. So that's the reason why, you know, I tend to go for plants that are easy care, like that Sansevieria right there. That's a beautiful variegated Sansevieria. And as you can see here, look at that fern in that really cool head planter. And then this one is an uncommon Marantha. This is a Marantha silver band for $32.99 in a hanging basket. Now, this particular Marantha is still quite uncommon. Sometimes you will see it pop up at a big box store, but for the most part, this is one of those Maranthas that are not really commonly seen. I have a lot of subscribers and viewers from Canada, so shout out to my Canadian plant foldies, Alfred, Chidlita 15, Kathy, Cindy. There's a bunch of y'all. If I miss anybody, I do apologize, but you guys are such regulars. And whenever I go plant shopping, I always think about my Canadian plant foldies, because based on what you've told me, it seems like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we just get a lot of plants. But I did hear that this Marantha silver band is a little bit more uncommon in Canada. So please let me know in the comments if that is true. And you can see right here, it's another Hydra Helix for $39.99 in that gift planter. And as you can see here, we've got some type of Boston fern in this head planter. That's really cool, actually, how you display the plant. And that's the thing about planters. Sometimes the planters really enhance the plant's appearance. And I did want to pan over here again, because this is just getting me super excited. For $99, this is another full, huge basket of Epipremnum Pinnatum albo. I really love this as well. And you know, if you actually grow an Epipremnum Pinnatum up a totem pole, the leaves will get even larger and they will fenestrate. And for those that don't know what that term fenestrate means that the plant is actually splitting its leaves. So as it grows up a totem pole or some type of tree in the wild, it actually gives enough light for the lower foliage to get light and actually photosynthesize. So I think that's super cool. But as you can see here, it's got some pretty good variegation. I do like the fact that it's not heavily variegated. Sometimes when you have plants that are really white with variegation, it is a little bit nerve-wracking, because the plant could actually die if it doesn't have enough greenery to actually support the photosynthesis, to photosynthesize. So as you can see here, they've got several hanging baskets of Epipremnum Pinnatum albo. What I would do is actually buy one of these hanging baskets, and I would take several cuttings and propagate this. You know, you can never get enough Epipremnum Pinnatum albo. And the thing that in order for it to really have that really good variegation, or at least for it to maintain, you've really got to give it a lot of bright indirect light. I would grow it under a grow light if you're going to grow it indoors. But that is another gorgeous plant. Like, look at this gorgeous looking foliage right over here. Look at that variegation. It's got some really good modeling on it. And again, this is at Plants and Planters. I haven't really seen full hanging baskets of Epipremnum Pinnatum albo. And then for $129.99, this is a Monstera deliciosa, a massive one in a 14-inch planter. So I will say Plants and Planters has some massive plants as well. Maybe not as massive as Plant Keeper, but I will say they still have quite a bit of big plants available at this nursery. So if you are a local plant foldie or somebody that lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm sure you've heard of Plants and Planters. I would highly encourage to visit Plants and Planters. I did hear that they were going to be getting a restock very soon, maybe within the next week or two, just like Plant Keeper. I know Plant Keeper, and if you haven't seen that video of Plant Keeper, please check that out. I uploaded it and premiered it about 3 days ago. They should be getting a restock on May 5th, 2024. So definitely check that out. And as I pan over here, you can see there's just lots of plants. I do love the fact that Shelly and the staff really know how to style their plants and really put them organized, make them organized. Like you can see here, they're in clumps. They're just aesthetically pleasing, and a lot of the care tips are pretty much the same. I do love the fact that they have handwritten signs, like for this Norfolk pine right here, that tells you the characteristics. So it's an indoor Christmas tree, or considered one What I find interesting is this isn't necessarily a pine, it's more of a tropical plant. And as it gets larger, it becomes less Christmas looking and more of like a cool looking plant. This is a massive plant for $39.99. That is a really good price at all. Very inexpensive for a Norfolk pine. And I keep panning over here because I really like Dracaena, and whenever I go to like local plant nurseries, you can see the full potential of a Dracaena. This is a Dracaena Warneckii Gold Star. I love this a lot because you can see that those small Dracaenas that you see at like a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, something like that, you'll only you will never really see large Dracaena like this. And I tell you what, I believe this is for $39.99. Let me just see if there's a price here. No, $49.99. I apologize, but this is a gorgeous plant, and this is a plant that you can actually stick in a darker corner of your home to give it a little bit more bright, a pop of color, and it will still do fine because it is lower light conditions. It can actually tolerate that. And you can see here they've got another large Epipremnum Pinnatum hanging basket, elbow version there, and they've got so many hanging baskets. This one is an Enjoy Pothos. We've just got a regular golden pothos here, and then another Enjoy Pothos. So that's something that I will definitely buy at some point. And you can see here for $169.99, you can get a full-blown Ficus altissima, which is a green on green type variegation for this ficus plant. Love that it's like a full-on tree. Obviously, I don't have the kind of space to be able to have a ficus tree like that, but I would love to be able to have one of those someday if I ever get a bigger space with my home. I will say though, my home is amazing. I'm really satisfied with it. I bought at a very good time, and I will probably never sell it because I've got such a good rate for it. And it can house enough of the houseplants that I want. And as you can see here, I'm going to pan over here and show you that this table has a lot of the prayer plants, maranthas, and calatheas, and they have a couple of raven zizis at the very top of the actual table. But this one is a Stromanthe Triostar. Really like this a lot. I actually bought a Stromanthe Triostar out at a big box store called Target, and it was a really good one by Urban Jungle. But this one right here is a nice looking one. I would say the Stromanthe Triostar hasn't been as finicky of a plant. I don't really water it as much, and they always talk about, Stromanthes needing a little bit more water, but for some reason mine is doing fine, and it is a healthy looking plant. I really do like the purple or like maroon undersides of the Triostar. And as you can see here, we've got a bunch of gorgeous looking ZZ Raven plants, and then we have some smaller Calathea lancifolia or rattlesnake plant. This one is absolutely stunning as well. Look at that. Look at that that pattern, and then the undersides of the leaves. This one is in a 4-inch planter for $14.99. And again, you can get a lot of different types of calatheas, and I like the fact that they also have red maranthas here. Look at the striping of that red marantha. This is only for $10.99, but you get a really nice looking red marantha here. I don't have any maranthas in my collection. I would say if I am going to get a marantha, I would probably get the lemon lime or the silver band, even though this one is a really nice looking marantha as well. Now, I didn't realize that maranthas can actually bloom. So if I find one that's in bloom, I'm going to definitely show you that. But beautiful red marantha. Plants and Planters, they have so many planters available, so many plants, and I have been shopping at this plant nursery for many years. This one is a Philodendron Brantianum, beautiful Philodendron Brantianum. I would say this plant is slightly finicky, but this one is in a 4-inch planter for $19.99. Now, if you didn't see the Plant Keeper nursery, they have these growing up a totem pole, and I will say these leaves on this Philodendron Brantianum can get as long as about a foot or a foot and a half. So these leaves can get massive when grown up a pole. I really think that that's really the full potential of a lot of the philodendrons. They really want to grow up something like they do in nature. And then I'm going to pan over here. So these are being sold as Lucky Bamboo, but these are actually a Dracaena. This one is for $29.99. This is a Dracaena Standliana, I think that's how you pronounce it, but this is the variegated form. You can see that this is beautifully variegated. I really like this a lot. This is actually one of the only types of bamboo I would actually grow in my collection. I never have been a fan of like quote lucky bamboo, but this one right here, since it is variegated, what do you guys think, plant folies? Do you like the variegation of this variegated bamboo? What do you think about just the price of it? I think it's a fair price. And then, you know, with this type of bamboo, it's one that I would love to grow. Now, I don't know how fast the growth pattern is, and this one is the braided form right here. I always find it interesting that certain plants can be braided, and if you look at the stem here, look at how highly variegated this one is on the stem, and you can see that this has some amazing variegation. I would like to know a little bit more about the plant care tips. Now, if I wanted to, I could ask one of the staff members, or I could ask my really good friend Shelly about like what the care tips are for that. But you can see here, they also have some more Dracaena, and then this is a different type of Dracaena. I really like the different colors of this particular Dracaena. They've got a mint color, white, dark green, green, and this one is Malika, Dracaena Malika for $12.99. It's a nice looking plant, and it's another plant that over time will get large, and with this type of pattern on its leaves, it looks absolutely stunning. And what I love about it is all of this coloration can still tolerate lower light conditions. I repeat, lower light conditions. And that's the thing about Dracaenas. I don't think a lot of people really talk about it or really get excited about Dracaenas. For me, it's one of those plants that I really think if you really want to grow plants and you don't want to kill plants, you definitely want to get plants like this. This one is a Dracaena Lemon Surprise for $12.99. These are the type of plants I would suggest getting because they're still beautiful. They may not be the most trendy plant, but they're not going to die on you, especially if you neglect them. Now over here is a Ming Aurelia for $199. So this is quite pricey for a Ming Aurelia, but it is a pretty large specimen. It's an old specimen. And then I've had a lot of plant folies and viewers make some suggestions about what plants they wanted to see. Now, Shelly did say that they were a little bit lighter on the inventory, and that's a good thing knowing that they've been selling through plants. But you can see here, we've got a bunch of assorted succulents. I want to learn more about succulents. I just really need to take the time to read succulents, their names. But the problem is every time I go to a big box store, typically, and even here, these are all for $4.99. They only have them labeled as assorted succulents, so there's not really any plant IDs for that. Now, this is one of my favorite types of succulents. This is called an Aeonium. Now, this one is an Aeonium Mardi Gras. This is for $12.99, and look at how perfect this Aeonium is. I would love to grow some Aeoniums. I got my first Aeonium recently from Lowe's. It was an Aeonium Kiwi, and I want to get the Mardi Gras one. Like, these ones are perfect, even if it is a little bit pricey for $12.99. I know that you can go to a big box store and get like a full tub for a little bit less, but these Aeoniums are in perfect condition and they just look stunning. So if I'm going to influence anybody to get like a succulent, I would definitely suggest Aeoniums, and this is really cool as well. So this one is some type of succulent. I think this is an elephant. Is it an elephant? I'm not sure what the plant ID is. I'm going to have to just take a look at the Sticks of Fire. Sorry, this is Sticks of Fire, and it apparently is fast growing. And for a succulent, that's really good because not all succulents are fast growing. And you can see here, this one's for $8.99. This is another type of kalanchoe. I really like the fuzzy type kalanchoe. When you think of kalanchoe, though, you think of those blooming, flowering plants you see at grocery stores. And right over here is just a regular string of hearts. I like that a lot, and this one is for $39.99. So I am gonna eventually get either a string of hearts. I believe this is a string of pearls, more string of pearls right over here. Look at how cute they look, and these are fast growing as well. Now this one is a ruby necklace. I really do like the purple stems that it has, that purple tone on this particular one, and this is for $26.99. So hopefully you guys are liking some of the succulent content that I'm providing at this Plants and Planters nursery tour. There's a lot to see, and I'm gonna really take the time to show you guys that. But what do you guys think about this particular ruby necklace? And then this is a really cool hanging basket. This is for $42.99. This is a some type of cactus again, some tropical cactus, and that looks really cool. I don't really have any cactus in my plant collection at home, nor do I have any hanging baskets of cactus. So that's really cool as well. It's very delicate looking actually. And then right over here is another variegated type of succulent. This one is an elephant food variegated plant. So this is really cool. Oftentimes you'll see this at a big box store as like the elephant bush. Really nice looking plant again. And you can see there is a chrysala. So would you believe that this is a jade plant as well? And this one is for $12.99. Really cool looking growth pattern and growth habit of this one. It's actually very unique. So plant folies, let me know what you think about this particular jade. I know you guys have been asking a lot about these jade plants. I love this. They look like stones just stacked up on top of each other. And you can see here, we've got some more elephant food right here. These are smaller ones for $9.99. I do like that they have different varieties of sizes at Plants and Planters. They have a lot of different types of plant products as well. So they sell different types of soils, fertilizers, you name it, they will have it. And again, highly recommend that, you know, if you were to ask me what plant nurseries I would recommend in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you only had a day to visit, I would actually put this in my top 3. I really love Plants and Planters, not only because they have all of this assortment of plants, but I really do like the people, especially Shelly. She has been a really good friend of mine over the years. I literally get excited when I see her, you know, at the actual nursery. You know, at one point she said she was retired, but now she's back at it. I think that just goes to show if you really love what you do, especially when you're dealing with plants, it's really challenging to just separate yourself from plants. Like I know for myself, ever since I started doing YouTube and doing plant shopping videos, while this might be a tedious process to show you like these different types of plants, like look at this cactus right here, look at how gorgeous it is. It is a tedious process, but it has become a daily routine for me. You know, I have a very demanding job. I work a minimum of 10 hours as a salaried manager. And it's one of those things when you're on salary, you work really hard, but when I think about YouTube, it's not really a job. You know, I'm thankful that I've been able to make some funds out of my YouTube videos. So for those that continue to hit that like button, to, you know, leave comments on my videos, as well as just interacting with me on a daily basis on the live premiere chats, I really appreciate that, because then it just motivates me to go to these local plant nurseries to showcase like these cactus. Like I do listen to your feedback. Some feedback I take with a grain of salt, and that's something that I've learned very quickly when it comes to just being online and having an online presence. I think the people that really care about who you are as a person, and especially if you are being your most authentic self, they're the ones that are going to stick around, and they're the ones that you really want to make sure you're catering to. And that's why like I am trying to make a conscious effort to show you even more succulents and cactus, because I think that's what you guys have asked. But you can see here, variegated string of hearts. I love this a lot too. This is also in a small one, $14.99. But the only thing is, you know, if you buy a small plant, even though it is for $14.99, variegated string of hearts, or string of hearts in general, are very easy to propagate, so you can multiply that. And on top of that, this plant is a fast grower, and that's another criteria. When you ask me what plants I like, there's certain criteria. Number one, I like plants that are a little bit more low light tolerant. Number two, I like plants that are a little bit water, you know, like underwater tolerant. So if you don't water them as much, less thirsty is good. And then number three, the growth habit. If they're fast at growing and they're easy to propagate, I am sold. So that's the reason why I'm like surprised I haven't bought one of these like string of hearts. That's just a regular form. And then this is an Endenium or desert rose. Look at how beautiful the blooms are on this. I used to have desert rose, and I remember going to the plant Con 2024 in Houston, and there was a Houston desert rose booth where they had multiple desert rose. Now this one is for $22.99, so it is within the range that, you know, some Adenium or desert rose are being sold. You can see that caudex right there. It's really thick, and desert rose would be an awesome plant to also make into a bonsai. I like it a lot, and there's just so many different varieties. I'm glad that Plants and Planters actually offers that bright red flower, and you can see here, where have you seen a barrel cactus in a hanging basket? Now, I would be afraid for this to fall on somebody. This one looks like it's been sold. Look at how massive that barrel cactus is, and as I lift it up, it's actually very heavy. So I'm just gonna put it back down. So plant folies, what do you think about that barrel cactus? And as I pan over here, look at all of this beautiful all of these beautiful plants.
You just want me crying over you. You don't want my heart. You don't want my love. You just want me crying over you.
I just can't get over the beauty of this actual nursery. Every time I go to this greenhouse, and I've been going for years, I am just speechless. And this is also going to make me speechless. Look at this. Do you guys see what I'm looking at? For $22.99, this is a variegated crown of thorns. Wow. This is stunning. Like, I am in awe. I think I probably need to buy one of these variegated plants here. This variegated crown of thorns is absolutely stunning, and I would assume if I give it a lot of bright light, this will actually give you some more pink variegation, maybe some reds as well. But you can see how gorgeous that variegation is. And what's really cool is this crown of thorns also produces blooms, just like a regular, crown of thorns. But this is a variegated form, something that you definitely don't see often. And wow, what gorgeous variegation. And then you can see here, we've got a euphorbia right over here. Look at that. Absolutely stunning as well, right next to a Madagascar palm. It looks very prickly, but look at that as well. That is for $59.99. And then this one is a smaller Madagascar palm right over here. The price is going to be a little bit less. I think that is for $39.99. And you can see here the regular crown of thorns is a lot less than the variegated crown of thorns. I do think that the regular crown of thorns is also gorgeous. You can see that this has some traces of some blooms. Beautiful plant, needless to say. And obviously that is a succulent plant. Here is another one right here. This is another euphorbia for $29.99. Look at that sun stressing. You can see that it's got some magenta, maroon look on it. And then we've also got a Madagascar palm right next to it. And more crown of thorns, variegated crown of thorns. I can't even really comment on it, just because even looking at it, it is so beautiful. And I feel like I need to get it. I need to buy that plant. Plant folies, what do you think? Should I buy that variegated crown of thorns? And you can see here, it just looks like a massive jungle. So, when you think about Plant Keeper Incorporated, which is another favorite plant nursery of mine in Dallas, this Plant and Planters jungle is amazing. And you can see here, $29.99 for just a regular Crusala or jade plant. I really like that a lot. This one is a different type of jade plant. This one is a Crusala stump. So I really like that as well. And then with all jade plants, they need bright light. If you grow them in full sun, they will do very well. Water when the soil is completely dry. You don't want to overwater them because their foliage actually stores a lot of water. They are a succulent plant. And you can see here, this is a Crusala Crosby or Jade Crosby for $9.99. This one has more compact, tight leaf structure, and then this one is just a regular Crusala or jade plant. That's still a nice looking one as well. I am in the hunt for a couple of more jade plants. So I found a couple of variegated jade plants, but you can see here, this one is the Crusala Crosby, gorgeous looking one. It's got smaller foliage, it's more compact, and I just can't get over the fact that they have a lot of jades as well. And you can see here, as I walk over, they've got some gorgeous and large Pachira aquatica or money tree braided plants. That's absolutely stunning. And then you can see there's just a bunch of hanging baskets. That one is an Epipremnum Pinnatum Cebu Blue Pothos. That is endemic to my home country, which is the Philippines. I am Filipino, and that's just, it's just exciting for me to see plants that are endemic to my home country. And you can see here, Philodendron Summer Glory, gorgeous looking philodendron. I love the natural satin shine that this particular philodendron encompasses. And you can see here, this one is for $59.99 in a 10-inch planter. So you can get a massive plant right there. I know that at Callaway's Nursery, they sell them for a smaller price. I think it's for $19.99, but you know, sometimes you want to just get a big plant, right? Like you want to get a big plant like this philodendron and not have to wait so long to grow one. So that's what I call instant gratification plants. There's certain plants that I would pay a premium for just so I can get a large specimen. Typically, it would be for like aglaonemas. Like I bought an aglaonema Golden Madonna recently because like aglaonemas, for instance, are slower growing plants. It would take a while to grow them. Same thing with even dracaenas. You know, dracaenas like that Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. Look at how tall it is, and then you can see here huge ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree right there. Now with fiddle fig leaves, you already know it needs a lot of light, a lot of bright indirect light. It can be a finicky plant. If you were to buy a fiddle fig leaf, when you transport it to your home, don't be surprised, especially for the large specimen ones, to drop its leaves. They need to acclimate to their environment. And over here, when you talk about like instant gratification plants, this is in an aglaonema stripes, a classic aglaonema, one that used to be very common. I would still say that it's fairly common to find. This one is only for, I believe, $39.99. Not a bad price at all for such a large aglaonema. And you know, with that aglaonema, you can put that in a dark corner of your house or space, and it will still do fairly well. It will just have slower growth, and it may not have the best coloration. Again, most plants that you see do better with more light. That's just nature in general. But you know, you have light, you know, low light tolerant plants that, you know, basically if you put them in a low light condition, their growth just actually just slows down a bit. Here is a Rapis palm. Really love Rapis palm. I just like the structure of the leaves. I think it's awesome. And what's even more awesome is for a palm, it doesn't require nearly as much light. It can be a little bit more tolerant on lower light conditions. Now, this is a Cistus discord, I believe, although it is labeled as a Rex begonia vine. Let me know in the comments, plant foldies, if this is a Cistus discord. Discolor, I think it is, but look at how beautiful the leaves are, and you can see that it's shooting out more growth. Let's see how much it costs. This one is only for $49.99. That is not a bad price at all. And again, these are plants that are actually uncommon. You typically don't see this plant being offered even at a big box store. I don't know if Costa Farms actually has this plant in production or being sold as an exotic angel hanging basket. And that is the reason why it's very important to go to local plant nurseries. Now, for those that are not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, can you leave in the comments what plant nurseries are local and what, you know, plant nurseries in your area you would recommend for me to take a look at? I definitely want to check out some more local plant nurseries, just because if I do any more traveling, I'll be able to see some more plants and, you know, maybe do some features of that. And here is for $10.99 a Cryptanthus plant. This one has some beautiful coloration as well. I really look at Cryptanthus plants as like very colorful looking Sansevieria. Obviously, they're not the same plant, but you can see here, this one also is for $10.99. This Cryptanthus is really gorgeous. Now, I don't know a lot about Cryptanthus, but I would assume they would need bright indirect light to get that really good variegation. And then also you want to keep them on the drier side. You don't want to really overwater them, but you can see that even that slight difference right there, there's a more like brighter red color, and this is really cool. Like this looks like awesome. $10.99. I love that gray foliage, that matte finish on it, and you can see how gorgeous that looks. Just spinning it around actually looks pretty cool. I love that a lot. That doesn't even look like a real plant. And then this one right here I thought was a bromeliad, but this is actually another Cryptanthus right here for $10.99. So this is actually one I have never really seen. I've seen the red varieties. I haven't seen the gray ones, and I definitely haven't seen this one. That really could have been mistaken as a bromeliad. Gorgeous looking Cryptanthus. Not sure if a lot of people grow those plants, but that would be something interesting to add in somebody's collection. And then we've got a Ficus elastica shiveriana. This one is for $24.99. That's not a bad price at all. Now, I've seen some larger ones being sold at different places. This plant used to be very expensive. I would say 3 to 4 years ago, a 1-leaf, 1-node cutting would cost you $100 or $150. I'm glad that I did not buy that at the time, and I actually have one that I bought from Green Escapes, which is an Etsy store, a little while back, and it's gotten fairly large over the years. It is a very slow growing plant, that shiveriana. And then over here is a philodendron Shangri-La. This one is for I believe $29.99. Look at that gorgeous looking leaf right over there, and I would assume that this plant would get very massive and large. This looks like a tomathophyllum, so it might actually be the same plant. For those plant experts that really know their plants, leave it in the comments if that is a tomathophyllum, but this is called a philodendron Shangri-La. And then you can see here traces of an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos hanging basket. Here is another Sansevieria. This is a Sansevieria Mikado. This one is for $16.99. Really like the Sansevieria Mikado or Fernwood Mikado because it is one of those easy to care for plants. Definitely can tolerate being underwatered and also lower light conditions. This one is another one right here. This is another Sansevieria that I like as well. I like that it's just got a vertical growth pattern. And then over here we've got some compact ZZ Zenzi plants for $16.99. Now I've seen this offered at Kroger grocery store by Live Trends, but if you wanted to get a compact version of a ZZ plant, you want to go look for the ZZ Zenzi plant. I love that as well. That's another plant that I definitely need to add to my collection. I've got 3 different types of ZZ plants. I've got the Raven ZZ, the regular ZZ, and the camouflage ZZ. I need a ZZ Zenzi, and I'm also looking for a variegated ZZ, and then that will be the pretty much my whole collection of ZZ plants. So there's just a couple of more plants there, but I did want to pan over here and show you some more plants. Now this looks like, those cuddly cactus that you see at Walmart. Let's see how much this costs. So this one is for $100 and $109.99, but look at how massive that cactus is. Very cute looking cactus. And then as I pan over here, even more plants to take a look at. They've got several different types of tables, so we're going to go focus on this next table right over here. As you can see at this table, we've got, I cannot really pronounce this, but I've seen this offered. This is a Especia for $12.99. So this Especia is the green version. I've seen the other version, but I've never really seen the green version. I didn't realize that this actually has yellow blooms. I didn't even know that this actually has flowers. So look at this. It's got red flowers right here. This is Especia. So I've seen Costa Farms offer an Especia in a hanging basket by Exotic Angels. This is actually the one that I've seen at Lowe's in a hanging basket. Look at that beautiful pink flower. I did not know Especias actually grow that. And you can see right here, this is actually offered by a local grower, premium collector's variety. This one is for $12.99. I really like that a lot. It does remind me of African violets, even though this is not an African violet. Really like the look at it. I like the shimmer of the leaves. This is another plant that needs bright indirect light. I did not know it actually has bloom, so that's really cool. And then this is for $14.99, a Rex begonia. We've been seeing a lot of Rex begonias. I really like the metallic shine of Rex begonias, and they come in so many different varieties. Now, I would love to be able to see the Fort Worth Begonia Society, or they have a Begonia Society out in Dallas as well. I would love to see what types of begonias they have available. Now, the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens does have a begonia collection that I want to be able to get access to, so I can show you different types of begonias. But as you can see at Plants and Planters, they've got so many different types of begonias. This is actually one of my favorite ones. Look at this red begonia right here, this Rex begonia for $14.99. Now with Rex begonias, I would bottom water them. I would not top water them because you would be at risk of getting the leaves wet and then the stems wet, and that's really bad news for Rex begonias. They don't like to be wet, otherwise they will get mushy and then they will die. So that's just a little tip that I would say with Rex begonias. Bottom water them versus getting their leaves wet. They're kind of similar to African violets, where African violets don't like to get wet. And you can see here as I pan away, the next table we have at Plants and Planters is a table of African violet. So I have only one African violet. The African violet I have is a green on green variegation. This one is for $12.99. I bought my first African violet at a place called Archie's Greenland, and you can see this one is actually cool. It's got some variegation on the edges of the leaves. I love touching African violets because it's got a succulent texture about it, but it's also velvety and soft. And then you can see here, this bloom actually has variegation. But with African violets, you want to make sure that you're bottom watering them as well. So what does that mean? Bottom watering means you take a saucer of water, fill it up with water, and then stick the pot there so that the actual soil sucks up the water, versus top watering. Because, you know, with these African violets, if you get their actual leaves wet or their stems wet, they will rot away very easily. But look at this gorgeous looking variegated African violet. So I want to collect some more variegated African violets. You know, I talk about appreciating green plants, but there is also the guilty pleasure that I have about just wanting to collect plants that are variegated. Like, how can you not buy this variegated African violet? There's so much leaf interest. I love that it looks like somebody just like speckled a bunch of snow or just spray painted it with white. It doesn't even look real, but it's definitely real. Absolutely stunning African violets here. And then here's another variegated African violet. Now with African violets, they prefer to be on the moist side. Like, you don't really want to let them dry out completely, which is why I'm surprised that I've been able to keep mine alive, because I haven't been the best at keeping up with the watering. I'm going to be very transparent, plant foldies or anybody just watching this. I have recently made some of my plants very unhealthy to the point where they are on the brink of death because of negligence, and I do feel bad for it. I just really have to reel it back in and make sure that I have a very consistent schedule when it comes to watering my plants. I think that's really why I invite spider mites or all sorts of types of pests, because I am not on top of my watering, which makes the plant more compromised in its health. Anyways, I digress from that, and I want to show you this right here. So this is another Monstera Stedliana. This one is for $49.99. We've seen these offered as trending tropicals by Costa Farms at Walmart and other big box stores. And then this is a beautiful Ficus elastica ruby. This one is for $19.99. That's not a bad price at all. It's quite competitive even with the big box store pricing. And what I like about it is these ones are very healthy looking plants. Love Ficus elastica ruby. You buy one of those in that size, give it about 2 to 3 years, and you've got a full blown tree. Trust me. Now this is specifically for one of my plant foldies, one of my most loyal plant foldies, Kathy of Canada. What do you think of this Hoya tricolor, this hanging basket for $26.99? These are massive, and it's just really exciting that Shelly and Plants and Planters has all of these hanging baskets of Hoya. I have been told that Hoyas start to bloom around the summertime. Maybe my Hoya might do it. I'm not sure. I already have a Hoya tricolor, Carnosa tricolor, but it's always good to look at this. Look at that variegation. Love this a lot. I actually got mine at Walmart, but if I ever want to get some more Hoya hanging baskets, I would definitely buy it from Plants and Planters. They always have a bunch of Hoya for my Hoya heads, or for those that love Hoya. Here you go. And then here we have a beautiful Hoya carrii. This one is another beautiful hanging basket. This one I believe is for $59.99. Slightly pricey, but again, you get a gorgeous looking Hoya. Hoya carrii are a very, very slow growing Hoya. Actually, Hoyas in general can be very slow in growth, but especially the Hoya carrii. Love the heart-shaped leaves. It's another hanging basket, so I would recommend buying that Hoya carrii if you just want instant gratification. Again, it really just depends on whether you want to wait for a plant to grow or if you want a massive plant already. But look at that variegation on this particular Hoya. Really like that a lot, and it's only for $26.99. That is not a bad price at all for a full-blown Hoya hanging basket. And then this one is a gorgeous looking Hoya. This one is for $79.99. This is a Hoya carrii reverse variegation. I really like that a lot as well, because the variegation is actually in the middle of the actual leaf versus the edges of it. Beautiful looking Hoya variegated carrii. and it's another one that I would save a little bit of money and possibly buy if I became a full-fledged Hoya head. Right now, I only have 3 Hoyas in my collection. They're doing very well. They've actually responded to me not watering them as often, so I really don't know what the watering I guess the watering requirements are for Hoya. So plant foldies that are watching this video, please leave that in the comment section. And I do want to keep showing you guys this. So Kathy in Canada, what do you think of this Hoya carnosa tricolor? I often think of you just because you are one of my viewers that really looks forward to, you know, interacting with everybody else on the chat. And I have made a conscious effort to try to get my videos scheduled way in advance for you guys to be able to, you know, plan ahead to get on at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then right over here for another $79.99 is another Hoya compacta variegata, or variegated Hoya compacta Hindu rope. You can see that this is absolutely stunning as well. The only reservation I would have about getting any type of Hoya Hindu rope is if you ever get mealybugs, it would be very difficult to battle mealybugs because they could just get in the crevices of the Hoya. But this is absolutely stunning. This Hoya actually is not as slow of a grower as you would think, and for the first time ever, I've actually seen the blooms in person at Plant Keeper Incorporated. They have one Hoya compacta variegata blooming, and it has pink blooms. It is absolutely stunning. And then over here, we've just got a typical Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess, but you know, this one is on for $34.99, but it's super full, and I actually find this Hoya gorgeous. I know most people will say this is the one of the most common Hoyas, but look at that variegation, and you can see that it's got some pink variegation. So that means it's slightly sun stressed, and what that means is it has gotten a lot of light to the point where it's giving us more unique color to it, if that's the best way to put it. But this is for $34.99. Very healthy looking Hoya. You can see there's no damage to this Hoya. And again, highly recommend Plants and Planters. If you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would highly recommend going to this location. Their plants are very healthy, as you can see, and they've got a lot of variety. So if you love Hoyas, definitely check this out. And I know that Plants and Planters are scheduled to get restocked around May 5th. They should be taking a truck, and apparently they're getting a lot of plants. So definitely check that out. I will try to come back to this plant nursery soon. I just have very little time to do a lot of things outside of plant shopping videos, but that is a commitment I've had for myself first and foremost, and obviously for all of you local plant foldies, or the ones that are very loyal that look forward to my daily plant content. I'm doing my very best to do that, because I've noticed not all plant influencers, even though I don't really consider myself a plant influencer, or people that are on YouTube do 1-hour plant shopping videos on a daily basis. It is a little bit of an undertaking, but I am up for the challenge. And over here is an interesting oak leaf ivy. Now this kind of looks more like a weed to me, but it is another vigorous growing plant. This is based on what my friend Shelly says, this is actually an old school plant. It's a plant that people used to grow more commonly than they do now. And then over here is their philodendron table. So I'm going to pan over here and just show you what types of philodendrons they have. But before we do that, I wanted to throw in another Hoya carrii for $12.99, the variegated form. Really cute looking Hoya carrii variegated version. And then this is a philodendron ring of fire. This one is for $29.99. Look at that variegation. Now this one looks to be a little bit more sun stressed. You can see that the leaves are a little bit more bleached out. I don't mind that at all, and I actually like that there's more subtle variegation than actually very stark variegation. Beautiful looking philodendron ring of fire. Now these have hit the big box stores. And over here we've got another philodendron. This one is a philodendron mame. I believe this is a mame. Let's take a look. Yes, this is a philodendron mame, and that's not a bad price at all for it as well. Really like this a lot. Now, the only thing about philodendron mame or plomenii, those types of philodendrons are a little bit more spider mite prone, so you just have to make sure you take preventative care to ensure that it doesn't get spider mites. I would recommend spraying it weekly with a neem oil, but you can see here, this one's got a couple of plants in it, and you can see that there's a new leaf unfurling. That's the thing about plant shopping. Sometimes you really want to take the time time to look at your plants and actually look for plants that have multiple plants, because you could possibly separate them. But you can see this is the philodendron table. Here is a philodendron right here. This is a Prince of Orange. Gorgeous looking philodendron. Look at that new leaf that's unfurling. It is a darker orange, and I like the orange veining on the leaves as well. There's a lot going on with it, and this plant can get fairly large. Actually, that is a nice philodendron. And then right over here is another philodendron. This one is only for $39.99, but this is a fairly large philodendron ring of fire. Again, this one looks to be pushing out a new leaf. I like this philodendron ring of fire. I have one in my collection that is doing okay. I wouldn't say that it's gotten some vigorous growth. I ended up buying it at Walmart by Growers Bench, and it's a really good looking one. But you know, I paid $24.98 for it, but honestly, I would have just paid this this price right here to get a larger philodendron ring of fire. And so that's the thing about plant shopping. Sometimes you get good deals at big box stores, but sometimes you get even better deals at a local plant nursery like Plants and Planters. You can see they've got a lot of massive philodendron ring of fires here. I am definitely a fan of it, and I do love the variegation. This is an easy to care for philodendron. You just want to make sure that you water it on a consistent basis, give it some good humidity, bright indirect light. Now this is a philodendron gloriosum for $29.99. I do like philodendron gloriosum just because the leaves are velvety. It's got a beautiful look about it, and I believe that the variegated version of philodendron gloriosum is going to be another it plant, one that's going to be highly sought after. I would say plants that make 2024 would be like the variegated alocasia. Literally, there's all these variegated alocasias popping out of nowhere. And what else do we have here? So some more Hoyas. Like, let's take this. This is a Hoya Matilde. Look at how beautiful this Hoya is. It's got rounder leaves, a little bit of splashing on it, and that's the thing. If you want to see more Hoyas like you've asked, I am going to definitely get you guys more Hoyas. This one is for $19.99. This is the same Hoya right here. And you know, with Hoyas, you definitely want to give up a lot of bright indirect light. And then over here is a gorgeous looking Hoya Quintiana, which is basically the variegated Wyetii. Now, Hoya Wyetii is actually endemic and native to the Philippines. I'll refer back to my Filipino roots. It's just really cool that we have Hoyas growing in my home country. But look at this right here. This one looks to be a little bit sun stressed. Love that a lot. I love the edges of the leaves as well being outlined by a dark green color. And all of these Hoyas right here are for $19.99. I would like to start getting Hoyas, but I am a little bit nervous about collecting them, because if I start with one, I'm going to have to get every single one. So it is a little bit pricey to get Hoyas, but I mean, I don't blame it, just because Hoyas are a little bit slower in growth, and they're just more of a niche plant. This one's for $19.99 as well. I'm happy with the Hoyas I have, but plant folies, let me know what your favorite types of Hoyas are. I definitely want to get a reverse variegated Hoya caryi. I think that would be such a cool plant to add to my Hoya collection. I just wish Hoyas would grow at a faster rate. And you can see here as I pan over all of these philodendron snowdrifts. So I actually got a small 4-inch planter of philodendron snowdrift, but look at how large it would get. Definitely a lighter looking philodendron. This one is for $39.99, and again, Plant and Planters have outdone itself in terms of just being able to get different types of philodendron. I like that they have the place organized. The plant pricing is fair, and you can see even here, look at how healthy this plant is, the size of this plant. That is another example of just getting a plant for instant gratification, because this particular philodendron grows a little bit slower. It is one that I would recommend. And then this is another philodendron I will buy eventually. This one is for $19.99, and honestly, I will probably just buy this philodendron Red Sun here versus buying it at a big box store. Now, I know Proven Winners offers one for like $19.98, but it's smaller, and then they also have a larger version for $29.98, but this one for $19.99 is a gorgeous looking one. Now you can tell this one is a little bit more sun stressed. It's gotten a little bit more light, so it's a little bit more bleached out, but I kind of like the look of that plant. You know, that's the thing about certain philodendrons or just plants in general, they kind of have a different characteristic when it comes to just being a little bit more sun stressed. And then right over here is a philodendron Urubescens Pink Princess for $39.99. Now this one has a little bit lower variegation of a philodendron Pink Princess, so honestly I would go with a higher variegated philodendron Pink Princess. Now that philodendron Pink Princess is highly available at a lot of big box stores, you can be a little bit more picky about philodendron Pink Princess, and the reason being is their variegation, philodendron Pink Princess, is really based on the initial genetics of the plant. So no matter how much light you actually flood it, if it doesn't have high variegation, most likely it will not produce that variegation. But anyways, I'm just going to pan away here and show you the philodendron table. They've got more around the nursery, but these are the smaller plant sizes. Check this massive ponytail palm for $149.99. Now I didn't realize that the ponytail palm was actually a succulent and not a legitimate palm, so I found that really interesting. And you can see this table also has a little bit more philodendron. So this one is a philodendron white princess. This one has some pretty good variegation. $26.99, not a bad price at all. So that's the thing about philodendron white princess. So excited to finally be able to get these a little bit readily available. We've seen these at big box stores. I recently found this actually at HEB, a local grocery store out in Texas. And you can see here philodendron Birkin. This one is got some pretty decent variegation. This one's for $14.99. So philodendron Birkin, you can actually be super picky with the variegation. I've seen some specimens that were very nicely variegated, a lot of white on it. And you can see like this one right here has some pretty cool variegation. At least the new leaves have become a little bit more white. Now, philodendron Birkin is one of the common philodendrons you can pretty much find everywhere. And then this is a philodendron verrucosum for $22.99. Not a bad price at all. Again, you know, philodendron verrucosum is still quite pricey. I would say a couple years back it was extremely pricey. Love that veining on the leaves as well as just the velvety texture of it. This philodendron can get fairly large, and you can see that it needs to grow up a totem pole to really get its maximum potential. And this one is already ready to be propagated. You can literally just cut underneath that node and stick it in water and you'll have another philodendron verrucosum. So I always look at plants whenever I go plant shopping on the potential of being able to propagate and multiply them even more. And then right here is a philodendron billetiae. I have to get one of these at some point. This is for $26.99. Philodendron billetiae can get fairly large. I just like the look of it. It's one that if I could ever get a variegated philodendron billetiae, that would be amazing. The pricing is still a little bit high. I'm going to give it another year or two before I add that to my collection. I would say even this year, I've rekindled my love to grow plants indoors. I basically got rid of all of my indoor plants, you know, a couple years back, just because I got really discouraged about having all of these pests and just not having the same type of time to take care of the plants. So I have been weary about adding plants to my collection, but it is very challenging, especially if you're going big box or plant shopping and you're seeing all of these gorgeous plants. Like Plants and Planters, look at how stunning all of their hanging baskets are. And you know, right now, based on what, you know, Shelly, my friend who is part of the staff of this place, says that this nursery right now is a little bit lighter than they want it to be. So they've obviously sold through a lot of plants. And then for the plant folding that actually asked me specifically for more Sansevierias, here you go. This is a Sansevieria La Rubia. This one is for $19.99. I love this one. This is actually a Sansevieria I would add to my collection because look at how yellow variegated this Sansevieria is. Really like the look of this particular Sansevieria. And then right over here, right next to it is another Sansevieria or a snake plant. This one is for $19.99. This is Sansevieria Gold Star. Really like that as well. Lots of beautiful Sansevieria. These are all Sansevieria trifasciatas. I find Sansevierias actually to be a little bit challenging. You know, a lot of people say that they are easy to care for plants. I think the reason why a lot of people dub them that is because they can tolerate lower light conditions. And then this one right here is a Sansevieria whale fin. This one is for $29.99. I actually have a whale fin that I could separate. I've been growing it for years and it has just pushed out many babies. And then this one is a beautiful one as well. This This is a Sansevieria whale fin variegated version. Look at that variegation on that actual plant. And you know, this one is still fairly expensive. That one is for $89.99. I would kind of hold off on buying a variegated whale fin. They're just a little bit pricey still, but I can see why it is expensive. And then you can see here, these are the plants that are not for sale. So some of these plants might be rehab plants or plants that they are currently propagating at this nursery. I will pass by a little bit just to show you what they have available there. And then over here, we've got a whole table full of Monstera deliciosas. These Monstera deliciosas, it's a classic plant that I know is used to be one of the it plants. And then we have a bunch of spider plants, spider hanging baskets here. These look very healthy, and notice that the leaves or the edges of the leaves do not have any brown crisping. I like spider plants, and you know what's cool about spider plants? They are not toxic to pets. So if you have a dog or a cat, it is safe to have a spider plant in your home because they are not toxic. Really like this one as well. They've got several different types of hanging baskets of spider plants. And then right over here, we've got a Ficus elastica burgundy, gorgeous looking rubber tree plant. Again, this is another plant that I actually have grown in full sun on a southern facing area of my home, and it did not burn. It actually grew a lot more vigorous with all of that light. And then over here, we've got some philodendron burley marxiae. That one's actually a really nice looking philodendron. This one is for $39.99. So people like the variegated version of this plant. The variegated version though is a little bit more finicky and reverting back to green, so I'd rather just go with the green version. And then this is another beautiful spider plant. I don't know what the specific plant ID is for this spider plant, but look, it's already pushing out some babies. I think that it's really cool, and I think for spider plants, they are best displayed under as a hanging basket, so you can actually get them. But you can see here how massive this jungle is. Really like the fact that I've been able to return to plants and planters to just film this nursery. It is one of my favorite nurseries. It's a nursery I trust. It's a nursery that I would recommend to anybody to go shopping at. So after watching this video, guys, please make an effort to make it out to Plants and Planters. Tell them that Richie at Growfold sent you there, because you can see beautiful water fixtures like this, and then large philodendron pink princess right here as well. So this one has actually outgrown its pole. It's time to actually chop up those. And if I ever get one of those like massive totem pole plants, I would definitely use it as a mother plant, because as soon as it hits the top, you can just kind of chop up the top leaves and make more plants. And that's what I've been into this spring, is actually propagating as many plants as possible. I'm currently propagating a bunch of pothos plants, and you already know I'm propagating a bunch of coleus plants because they're super easy. And then this right here is one of the alocasias I love. This is for $16.99. This is an alocasia black velvet. Really like that velvety texture of the leaves. Sometimes this is mistaken as a alocasia ninja. And then over here we've got a philodendron Macaulay's finale for $29.99. Again, gorgeous looking plant. This could easily be mistaken as like a philodendron red sun or a philodendron Princem orange. Really like this particular philodendron because it's one of the ones that just spreads rather than has to grow up vertically on a pole. And then over here we've got a green marantha, a lemon lime green marantha. Really like this as well. And you can see that this marantha is actually in bloom. It's got some white blooms. Really love the look of this plant right here. This one is in perfect condition, and it's a finicky plant. It's one that does require a lot of humidity, bright indirect light, and keeping the soil moist. And then over here, one of my favorite Tradescantias. This is a Tradescantia nanuk. Love pink plants. Look at this one right here. Absolutely gorgeous. And then this is another plant that does get leggy. So as you pinch back or trim it, you can take it and put it, put the cuttings in water and propagate it. And it will also get bushy in no time. So this is one of these easy to care for plants. Like literally you can take a cutting like that right here, stick it in soil, or just put it in water, and you'll get some new Tradescantia nanuks for free. I love free plants, and I love saving money on plants, so that's a good way to do it. And then over here we've got a $16.99 Alocasia bambino. I think that's what it's called. It looks like a dwarf version of an Alocasia poly. I like the look of this as well. The narrow leaves are really doing it for me, as well as just the veining of the leaves. There's just a certain light coming from it. And then we'll go ahead and pan over here. So this is a larger version of a philodendron Macaulay's finale. I really like the look of this version as well. Look at that right there. I just love the new leaf unfurling. And then we're going to take a look here. So that is the price for it. That's only for $29.99. That is not a bad price at all for such a large looking philodendron. I would recommend Macaulay's finale because it can get even larger. And I'm going to spin around here and show you this lone Monstera Esqueleto, large Monstera Esqueleto. And I know that Costa Farms has released it before to buy online. I may eventually get an Esqueleto someday. We'll just see about the plant pricing going down. And then this is an Aglaonema Mary Ann. Look at how large this Aglaonema Mary Ann is. Now, again, this is for $39.99. This one is actually an Aglaonema that is often seen at Kroger grocery store. The plant provider is Mason Farms, and they have a version of Mary Ann, and it's way smaller. But you can see that when you go to a local plant nursery, like Plants and Planters, you can see the full potential of some of the plants, how large some of these plants can get. Now, this table here has a mixture of Dracaena, Monstera, and peperomia. So let's look at some of the peperomia plants. This one is a quite interesting peperomia. Look at that that texture on the leaves. That is absolutely stunning. This is for $29.99. This is not a bad price at all for a plant, this peperomia, that you don't really see often. The texture is immaculate. It looks super cool. It's definitely a very unique looking plant indeed. And we have some more right over here that I'm just going to pan over. The next peperomia we're going to be taking a look at is a Peperomia Rousseau. This one is for $12.99 in a 4-inch planter. This one seems to be very happy. As you can see, they've got those little rat tail looking things on it, the actual plant. Those are actually the blooms. So again, when you have a plant that is actually flowering, especially a peperomia, you can tell that it's happy, it's established, it's in good growing condition. So really nice to have those Peperomia Rousseau blooming. And then this one is one I've never seen before, but I am actually interested in purchasing. This one is a Peperomia Ambricos for $12.99. This is a variegated peperomia. I really like the look of it. Look at that right here. Look at the details of this plant. It kind of reminds me of my Peperomia Red Luna. It's a Costa Farms trending tropical plant, but for $12.99, that is not a bad price at all. And there's several of them to choose from. This one has blooms as well. You can see that these rat tails are right here. You can chop them off so that way you can actually encourage the plant to push out more more foliage versus blooms, because blooms actually take a lot of energy out of the plant. But look at how gorgeous that variegation is. I am all about that. And as I pan over here, there's even more variegated versions here. It's definitely going to be a plant that I will add to my collection. Again, I have so many plants in my collection at the moment, a little too much, to the point where now I am a little bit stressed about how I'm going to be able to water them and keep up with my plant chores. I'm getting better. But at the same time, when you're doing YouTube videos and you're out and about filming and then having to edit, it's a little bit of a challenge. I'm not complaining, but it's just the reality of it. So that's why I can't add more plants to my plant collection. You can see right here, that is a Plea peperonoides, really nice looking one. And then check this this peperomia out. I will give credit to Plants and Planters. They've got some really interesting peperomias. Like this one right here is a Peperomia Royal. This one is for $29.99. Again, this is actually in bloom. I've noticed a lot of their peperomias in this actual nursery is in bloom. So I would say the greenhouse conditions are very compatible to all of the plant's needs, because they're all very happy. Now this one is a philodendron narrow escape. So this is like the green form or the original form of a philodendron golden crocodile or a philodendron ring of fire. And then what else do we have here? We've got some more large bird of paradise. Now bird of paradise is a plant that requires a lot of light. And then right here is a Ficus elastica melanie in a tree form. That's not a bad looking Ficus elastica melanie. And as I pan over here, look at how gorgeous this massive spider plant in a hanging basket is. Like this one has been growing for quite some time, and you can see that it's got a lot of babies that you can literally chop off and propagate, and then you have a new spider plant. Look at how gorgeous that is. And that's the reason why I feel like, you know, with spider plants, they need to really be growing in hanging baskets to be displayed that way. Now this one is a lipstick plant right here for $29.99. I thought it was a Hoya initially, but it is absolutely gorgeous as well. Lipstick plants, it's something that I haven't delved into getting, but I will eventually get those added to my collection. Again, it's just a matter of getting everything in order in terms of the time I invest in my plant chores. And then over here, we've got a bird's nest anthurium for $39.99. That's actually a really good price for such a large plant. And as I pan over here, we've got another gorgeous looking Sansevieria. This one is a Sansevieria bird's nest. This one isn't a bad price at all, and you can see that there's multiple ones that you can separate and actually have 3 plants versus 1. This is a peperomia raindrop for $14.99. I always found peperomia raindrops to be absolutely precious. They almost have like a succulent type texture on the leaves. It's got a beautiful shine as well, and I love the shape of the leaves, very structured. And it's another plant that is easy to propagate. You can literally take the top part of that plant, stick it in soil, and it will propagate. And it's the same thing with Syngonium. So this is a Syngonium for $16.99. This is a Syngonium confetti. Now with Syngonium confetti, in order for it to have some of those pink speckles and even that ghostly green mint tone, it needs to have a lot of bright indirect light. I do like the fact that this Syngonium actually is got a full bunch of plants in this little 4-inch planter, $16.99 for it. I ended up buying a Syngonium Wallandii from this location not too long ago, or last time I visited. It's been a while actually since I visited a Plants and Planters. I feel bad because it is a nursery that I absolutely love. This one right here is for $12.99. That is a mini Photonia white version. And as I pan over here, you can see gorgeous looking Syngonium confettis as well as a Syngonium Wallandii. Now with the Syngonium Wallandii, that's for $12.99. That's actually a really good price. It's got more of a velvety leaf texture, and as it matures, the silver streak over there actually disappears, but the leaf size changes, and I love this. For $29.99, this is a Syngonium albo. That's a fair price. I would say even though Syngonium albos are easy to get these days and they're very easy to propagate, it's still a nice looking Syngonium albo. $29.99 is not bad, and you can see right here, this one is actually trailing for $29.99. So lots of variegation, but you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 cuttings, so 5 free plants from this one plant right here. So it's one of those things that if I were to grow a Syngonium albo, I have a couple, but they're not as variegated. I would definitely take several cuttings and put them in a actual planter all together, so you would get a more full plant. Now this plant wants to actually grow up a totem pole, but you can see what gorgeous variegation of it has. Now this is another plant that you have to prune back in order to maintain the variegation, because it can easily revert back. And as you can see here, we have this last table here, and it's one of the popular tables. But before we do that, I did want to show you a little bit close up of this Syngonium albo. This one is about to push out a fully white leaf. Unfortunately, that white leaf is not going to last long. Honestly, I would actually cut back the first node after it hardens, just because you want to get that green to come back. Otherwise, it'll just keep producing white leaves, and eventually the plant will deteriorate in its health because it can't photosynthesize. So just FYI for that Syngonium albo, that's really the upkeep. But you can see this is another easy to care for table. They say that this is actually one of their popular tables because it's an easy to care for plant. Like this is a philodendron heteroraceum, lemon lime. Love the neon colors again. This is similar to a neon pothos. I do like that the lemon lime actually has heart-shaped leaves. I really like philodendron heteroraceums in general. And then we have a pearls in jade pothos for $12.99. And you can see it looks very similar to an enjoy pothos, but notice that a pearls in jade has more speckling on the leaves. It's got more of a gray tone, more like a pastel look, versus an enjoy where you can literally see the green color and then the white variegation. There's not a lot of in between. And then over here, we've got some Epipremnum aureum marble queen pothos. This one is for $10.99. Not a bad price at all. And you notice that it's got a lot of nice variegation on the leaves. Now with marble queen pothos, I say this in every video, you've got to give it a lot of bright light for it to maintain its variegation. And speaking of variegation, philodendron heteroecium Brazil, $12.99. Notice how it's got a lot of yellow variegation on it. I was told by another plant foldy that philodendron heteroecium Brazil actually is impacted, the variegation and coloration is impacted by the amount of light you give it. And I actually bought one of these from Plants and Planters. This is a philodendron heteroecium Rio. This is for $16.99. That's not a bad price at all, because I still see people trying to sell a philodendron heteroecium Rio for a much more expensive price. And you know, this plant has been heavily propagated and has become a little bit more common. And then right over here, we've got another Scindapsus. This is a Scindapsus silver Ann. But this one is another plant that I would want to get. I just like Scindapsus as well. It's just unfortunate that they are a little bit slower growing. I do like the velvety leaves on them, and it just makes it for a good house plant. But as you can see here, I am super satisfied, super happy. All the positive adjectives you can mention for Plants and Planters, because they have so many cool plants. Like this one right here are massive philodendron prints of orange. Look at that. It is absolutely stunning. I would love to be able to have a bunch of these large philodendron in my home, but I just really don't have the space for that. Although I would make an exception for this, because I mean, look at how gorgeous this is. This is for how much? Let's take a look. $49.99. So, you know, $50, but that is a massive plant right there. Plant foldies, would you add that to your plant collection? Because I sure would. And I'm just going to pan over here. This is another Aglaonema I actually would want to buy. This is a Aglaonema Moonlight Bay. So it's basically for $39.99. That is not a bad price at all. It's a fairly large plant. And what I like about it is it looks like an Aglaonema stripes mixed with something else. So it looks like stripes, but it's got some speckling on it. And it's another plant that I am definitely interested in getting in the future. I love aglaonemas. The only thing about aglaonemas is you want to make sure you're not overwatering them. And that's basically it. They can tolerate lower light conditions. And you can see here, this is an Aglaonema Sparkling Sarah. Now with the more colorful aglaonemas, they do require a lot more bright indirect light for them to be able to hold onto their colors. They don't necessarily revert, but you won't get the best coloration if it's in lower light conditions. And then over here, we've got some more Ficus altissima or altissima tree forms. And then we've got a bunch of Monstera deliciosas right over here. These are the large form Monstera deliciosas, another common and classic houseplant, one that a lot of people used to like seek after for like, you know, in the past 3 to 4 years ago. And then over here is another Dracaena that we like. And then all of this, look at this. This is just stunning. So plant foldies, let me know what you think of Plants and Planters. Do you intend to visit here? And if you do, please make sure you are saying hello to Shelly and that Richie of Grow Folds brought you here. But this is one of the most beautiful aglaonemas. This is an Aglaonema Spring Snow. It's a large Aglaonema Spring Snow. I actually would want to buy this as well. I've been debating on whether I should get one that large, just because look at how highly variegated this is. And again, this is another Aglaonema that can hold on to its color to where it's not necessarily going to revert back to green. And then what else do we have here? I'm just all over the place right now because it's just so exciting to show you all of these plants. But you can see here we've got some Dracaena, and then lastly we've got some gorgeous looking large jumbo aloe. Have you ever seen aloe vera this large? If you haven't, here you go. And then this one is for $59.99. You got some aloe vera plants here. This is a very large one. I wonder how long it took to grow that plant. But plant foldies, this is another local plant shopping video of another Dallas-Fort Worth nursery. I will be doing a lot more of these as I realized that I was doing a lot of big box store plant shopping. I really feel like Plants and Planters needs more foot traffic. You guys definitely have to go visit it because they've got Epipremnum Pinnatum albos in hanging baskets. I definitely want to show you guys this again because look at how gorgeous that variegation is for this particular plant. plant foldies, I hope you enjoy this local plant nursery tour of Plants and Planters. Again, please make sure you're hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel for daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. I will definitely feature this nursery again when they get the restock. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I enjoyed hosting this plant nursery tour. Please make sure you are leaving comments for this video as I respond to everyone, and I love that engagement. My plant foldies, you have a good one. Bye.